Do you have old flip-flops at home? You know, discarded, not in use anymore? Pull them out, because my next guest has something interesting to do with them. He is Konbonye Eugene, and he's an environmentalist and an artist. Welcome to Robin Minds, Konbonye. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Great to have you here. So I've seen your work, and it's very interesting. It's really fascinating. So you take discarded flip-flops and you turn them into portraits.
Yeah.
So why do you like picking rubbish on the floor?
Well, it's actually started about 7 years ago. As a student of Ouch Polytechnic. I studied art from Ouch Polytechnic. I graduated in 2018. So during my time there was a kind of scarcity of material, conventional art material, you know. If we need material, we have to send someone either to Lagos or to Abuja to get materials. Now, these materials are not only scarce, but they are also expensive. So maybe sometimes towards the middle of the semester, there's no money. So certainly I have to do my assignment. So that is actually how I started. So I started sourcing for post-consumer materials, but then something actually I don't know, I just picked interest in this kind of footwear. So that's how I started. I started working with this material and up to this point.
Yeah. That's interesting. And since you started doing this, your art has scaled. There seems to be an appreciation for you know, using the material that you use for your work. When you started out, even though it was out of a place of scarcity and you needed to fill a pressing need, at what point did it hit you that what you're also doing is saving the environment?
All right. For me, I've always wanted to do something that's a little bit different from what everybody is doing. In 2016, I was in Universal Studio of Art, where I did my 1-year industrial training. I trained under Mr. Abiodun Olaku and Mr. Wallace Ejo. So they taught me the foundation of art. That is outside school. So when I went back to school again, I was greatly influenced by Mr. Kent Ona and Mr. Lawani Sunday. And when I came to Lagos, one thing I did actually was, during times when I visited galleries, I tried to look out for something that is not there. You know, so I look around, and this is something a little bit not many people are doing, because when you talk about art, what comes to mind in many people, majority of the time, is the conventional material. When you say I'm an artist, people will think, oh, you paint with color or you sculpt, and so then I feel like there's need for me to do something a little bit different. So that was how I started. And over time, when I started making mosaics. I cut these materials into tiny cubes and arranged them. But with time, my collection started growing, and I sit back and I had to kind of look deep inward and say to myself that if I keep on walking in this direction, I will fill up a space, and maybe I will not have more space to put this material, and I really want to do something. So that was how I started kind of not cutting this time, but assembling the materials, not without kind of destroying their original form. So right. that is actually how my journey to this point had been.
Right. But, you know, what I was really hoping that you would speak on is, you know, the fact that what you're doing in many ways is recycling.
Yeah.
Right? You're taking people's discarded materials and turning them into something new that would now go into people's living spaces, where you would typically not find those sort of things. How do you think art is helping you in your own little way save the world?
Okay. Plastic pollution is everywhere. You know, it's a global problem. Every part of the world is fighting it, and so there's actually a need to do something. And I most times I sit down and look at myself, and I say to myself, it's a privilege to actually contribute to the environment, you know, or the environment that I live, because if we do not take care of this environment, it will actually get back at us in many ways. So it feels good that I am able to actually contribute to a kind of to the environment in many ways possible. And one other thing again is people are watching out for opportunities. There's kind of a certain level of difficulties around, so people will actually need to check out for something that will help them kind of pull themselves out. So that is where I fall into, because another thing is for me is if I should queue up along the line if I should queue with the people that use conventional materials, maybe certainly I wouldn't have had this kind of this level of growth that I've achieved over time. So it's a great privilege for me to do something that is both beautiful and also important to the environment.
Right, and that's it's a very beautiful space to be in, right? Because you can really see the impact your work is having on the environment. If there's a lesson here in what you do for other artists, right, who maybe are currently in that space where you were a couple of years ago when you were still a student at Auchi Polytechnic, what would be that advice that you have for them?
The advice I'll have for young artists majorly is there's this thing with a majority of artists. Everybody wants to do what sells. So just few people actually being original. If everybody wants to, okay, this is what is trending, so I should just follow up. So, and I think that alone have a kind of deter a lot of people from going deep into their real potentials for in terms of what they can do in terms of creativity. So it actually stopped people it stuck a lot of people because everybody wants to, oh, this is what is selling, so let me do this. You understand? So my advice for young artists is most times they should look deep into their strength and work on those things that they feel is something that they are good at. So, and that is one thing that will kind of give them a voice and a space of their own.
Right. And as somebody who has done exactly what you're now advising young people to do, are you helping people find their feet in the arts world? You mentioned spending some time, with these legendary artists who now inspire your work. Are you doing the same for others?
Yes, I train people. I train young artists. I train people that want to study art, and I also train people on CUS and industrial training. But one thing I do most times is the moment I get people, I actually tell them, I'm not teaching you to be like me, because I don't want a situation where you produce something and I am reflecting in what you're doing. That's not originality. You understand? So a lot of times what I do is they work with me. So certainly they see what I'm doing, but I actually advise them not to do what I'm doing because I want them to be original. So what I do is I take them through the foundation, like how I started, through drawing, through painting. So I do paint now, but majorly it's because of the people that I'm teaching. So I just want to take them through painting other than doing what I'm doing. Because when they do what I'm doing exactly is when you see a work of art and my work I tell them when you create a work and your work reminds someone of me, then you are not. For me, I don't know everybody there. Everybody's entitled to his opinion. For me, I feel if your work reminds people of me, then you're not doing something
right.
Really good. Understand? So outside that, also though, I also advise them to actually check out for something else. Yeah.
Well, sounds like you're onto amazing things, and I wish you all the very best, Konbonye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Konbonye Eugene is an artist who uses old flip-flops to make really beautiful portraits, and we're happy to have him here. And